State Ombudsman's Office, this is Kate.
Yes, ma'am. I have a question for you. Is Southeast Regional Health Consortium a nonprofit organization in this state?
Say the name of the agency again, please.
Southeast Regional Health Consortium.
Give me a second to look it up, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
It's a nonprofit.
How is it nonprofit?
That I don't know.
Well, how is it nonprofit?
Would you like to hear the description? Let me.
It's a nonprofit health consortium of 18 native communities.
Looks like it's tribal. So I could give you the phone number, and you could call them directly to ask them how they're umbrellaed.
Well, I can tell you one thing. Being a recipient of federal reimbursements, that means they are a public facility, meaning they're not a non-profit.
It's possible that they are umbrellaed under federal, yes.
They are. So that means they're not non-profit because they accept federal reimbursements for Medicare and Medicaid recipients. And in doing,
would you like to call them and ask them why they're listing themselves as a non-profit?
Because they're in a large U.S. court case right now, and they've changed it up. They're being sued in the United States courts for medical neglect to a woman who one of their primary care providers made carry around a dead fetus in them almost a month without them doing anything about it, denying proper health care to disabled people. Is that what this state...
What is your name?
My name's Eric Mapes. And I'm wondering why y'all are, why the state's condoning violations of Alaska statutes. When SEARHC is committing crimes under Alaska statutes, employees of SEARHC are committing violations under Alaska statutes. Not to mention they're violating federal laws, they're violating medical laws and everything. You hear my wife in the next room crying. You know why she's crying, ma'am? Because she had to carry around a dead child for almost a month. And nobody did anything about it for about a month, and that's called murder of an unborn child, and under the Alaska statute.
What is it that you want the ombudsman to do for you?
Well, I'm wondering, is this what you condone in this state? Felony violations by employees of SEARHC.
I don't really know which employees you're talking about. Because
I'm just wondering. No, look, I'm telling you here. Let me tell you something. Under here, I'll tell you. Under section.
Mr. Mapes, I'm going to put you on hold for a minute.
Under 1141-150, murder of an unborn child.
This is Linda Lord Jenkins. Can I help you?
Yes, I'm wondering if your office condones violations of Alaska Statutes 1141-150, number 2, which was committed against my wife. She's still crying about this matter, and also violations of Alaska Statutes 1181-250, which says it's a Class A felony which characteristically involves conduct resulting in serious physical injury or substantial risk of serious physical injury to a person. But yet y'all are condoning that to happen to my wife in this state, ma'am.
I'm condoning that?
No, I've called your offices about this multiple times, and I'm wondering why y'all have not done anything to protect me or my wife, especially my wife when felonies were committed against her. You know, that's called 1141-150 is called murder of an unborn child. It says, number 2, with intent to cause serious physical injury to an unborn child or to another person, my wife, by making her carry around a dead baby almost a month inside of her is called, could cause serious physical injury or death to her. And I'm lucky she's still alive. So is this what this state condones? Because nobody in this state wants to do their job. I'm not saying you, ma'am, but I'm saying I have evidence and tapes of it.
Well,
I'm just wondering what we're supposed to do. You hear my wife? Is this what I have to live through every day because nobody's going to do their job? Is this what she has to go through every day? You hear her? Do it. Is it,
I hear something. I don't know what it is.
That's my wife bawling, ma'am.
Okay.
Is that what y'all condone? Is there something that can be done? Because I have proof that these statutes were violated by a primary care provider, a nurse practitioner. So I'm wondering what's going to happen because nobody seems to care about this.
I am unfamiliar with your case, Mr. Mapes. I know your name because they gave me your name. But,
yes, but I'm saying that I've been trying to get justice on my wife's behalf under these statutes, and nobody seems to care. So that's telling me this whole state condones murdering unborn children.
I don't think that's a conclusion that I would draw.
That's the impression I've been getting for the last since April, ma'am. Since April. Now it's almost August. It's like 5 months I've been getting this impression for everybody in this state. So I'm wondering, who do I need to speak to since these acts are being condoned throughout the state?
What is it that you are hoping to achieve? What do you want to happen?
We want the person, these are felonies. This person needs to be in jail. They're still practicing medicine on other people. I'm afraid they're going to do harm to other people. Look what they did to my wife. Y'all are going to let them sit there on their high horse and then still possibly do this to other people?
Okay. I'm asking a question.
Yes.
Okay.
We want justice.
To be angry with
we want them in jail because they committed 2 felonies. But
what are the felonies? Violation
of Alaska Statute 1181-250. It's a Class A felony which characteristically involves conduct resulting in serious physical injury or substantial risk of serious physical injury to a person. By making a woman carry around a dead baby for almost a month inside of them can cause serious physical injury, if not death. So that is a Class A felony. And then under Statute 11.41.150, murder of an unborn child with intent to cause serious physical injury to an unborn child, which we have proof of the intent, or to another person, or knowingly that the conduct is substantially certain to cause death or serious physical injury to an unborn child, which we have proof of, or to another person or causes the death of an unborn child, which we have proof of.
Okay. And how did she do that? How did the medical professional do that?
Okay. My wife has high anxiety, panic attacks. She's got a history of seizures. She is terrified of flying. Well, while she was pregnant, we were trying to get her on the ferry because she's afraid of flying. We had a hearing with SEARHC Medicaid a while back about it. They denied her ferry travel but said they would allow her an escort. But putting someone who's afraid of flying with those kind of conditions is, an exacerbation of a panic attack can cause damage to a fetus. Now, when this provider knew about the hearing, they didn't step forward and say anything about her medical conditions. And then also referring her to a non-licensed OB that she informed us was licensed when we found out they weren't licensed OBs. That's another thing. You send somebody to the wrong doctor, you're going to get the wrong treatment.
Who did they send her to?
Valley Medical. And if you doubt what I'm saying, there is a audio clip on YouTube right now, and I can give you the title of that, and you can have a listen. It's about 20 minutes to 30 minutes long. It's me and my wife calling her mom around the 27th or 28th of April while we were in the Bartlett emergency room in Juneau. And that ER doctor got on the phone with my wife's mother, who's 27 years in the medical profession. She's a nurse, 27 years. And you will hear that doctor telling my wife's mother that they don't have any licensed OBs at Bartlett, and then that Bartlett is also part of the same physicians group as Valley Medical, which where my wife was referred to. Now, that's saying that they're not licensed OBs. That's called malpractice. So that violates those statutes. So why is this provider over here in Hoonah still running around free, ma'am, when they've committed felonies?
What is the provider's name?
It's Esther. Last name Heath, Heath. And then the saddest part is when we started bringing this forward and filing with the nurses licensing board and all that, this provider then lied to the courts to get a restraining order put on me for stalking when I was going to the same clinic for my behavioral health, for my mental disabilities, and also to have my chemo that this clinic put me on for them to monitor it. This whole time I've been without monitoring of my chemo. I haven't had a doctor to monitor it. I've been doing it at home solo. And the saddest part is this provider's name's on the prescription bottle, meaning they are liable to monitor me once they prescribe this medicine. They can't deny me health care after they prescribe me this type of drug or treatment. But they are. But I'm being attacked in the civil courts saying I stalked them when I told their boss I'm going to document every day I see this person here at this clinic. That's not called stalking. That's called taking documentation to show that they're allowing this person to still be employed after they subjected me, myself, to 6 months of medical neglect. They wouldn't even prescribe me my medicine for my disabilities. They wouldn't prescribe me medicine for my general health care. I don't know if you know what acid reflux is, or what it means when your symptoms exacerbate, but when you wake up in the middle of the night and you're choking, drowning in your stomach acid where you can't breathe, that's what acid reflux does when you don't have your pills. And I was subjected to 6 months of that myself by this same provider. And then what they did to my wife is just appalling. And this is all I hear every day since April is her bawling like this because nobody in this state cares. They're letting this person run around like they did nothing. And I have all the evidence showing they committed these felonies against my wife and murdered our baby. But nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody in this state cares. That's the impression I've gotten. Well, it's because we're not native. My wife's part, I forgot what she's part Indian, Potawatomi, and I'm part Cherokee. We're both part native. We might look light skinned and have colored eyes, but we're both part native. And we're being treated horribly by natives in this state, too.
What is the name of the health clinic that you're talking about, sir?
SEARHC.
SEARHC?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the only clinic here in Hoonah. The only clinic here.
Okay, hold on 1 second.
And under Title III of the Americans with Disabilities Act, they are a public facility because they accept Medicare and Medicaid reimbursements to cater to the elderly and disabled, making them public. And then by them telling me I can't come on the premises because of Mrs. Heath, after I had a meeting with Mrs. Heath's boss assuring me I would continue my health care and monitoring of this chemo, well, 4 days later they changed their mind after a good meeting. That's called neglect. That is neglect because they put me on my meds. I was under the impression I would continue with my behavioral health counseling, which I was trying to do. I didn't know that's called stalking when you're going to get help for your disabilities. That's, I didn't know that's stalking, but I'm being accused of it right now, and I'm being attacked by a large law firm that SEARHC uses for themselves, and they also had Mrs. Heath hire. And now they're using my disabilities against me because of an exacerbation of them because of neglect for my medications the whole time. I need my meds for my disabilities, or and people have seen me without being unmedicated this whole time, and they're using that to hate and show animosity for me just trying to get help and be put on my medication. And then being on this form of chemo, well, my moods are even worse. And I have medical records that show that. But I'm being attacked for that. For my disabilities and my moods from my chemo, well, all I'm trying to do is protect my wife and get help. That's all I'm trying to do, is protect my wife. Because they almost killed my wife, too. They almost killed my wife after they killed our baby. They put her life at risk. Her mom's a nurse down in Indiana. Her mom is a nurse and been in the profession for 27 years. And she knows this is wrong. So I'm just wondering what this state wants to do. My wife also has law enforcement in her family in Indiana. And we've been talking to them too, and they said this is criminal. Why is nobody in the state doing anything? People, we have family even in Alaska too. That's why we're in Alaska. We're living with family, and because of that, nobody's doing anything. They're just you're not native, you're not clinky, you're not hided, you're not go screw yourself. Basically, pardon my language, but that's what they've been basically telling us.
When did your baby die?
Around the 28th of April. Well, no, the 26th. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Around the 26th,
and how far along was your wife when the baby died?
She was almost 4 months.
Okay.
And then when we finally got her to a supposedly an OB, they said they don't know the cause of the death. They don't have the determination, but it's rather odd that the baby would die this late in the pregnancy. That's one thing that doctor did tell us. But we don't know the cause. I'm thinking it's because of all the stress these people put my wife through, and knowing she has high anxiety, knowing she has these problems, and not doing anything to remedy those problems. That's called neglect and incompetency on the medical professional's behalf. But yet, it's okay for them to commit Alaska felonies under the Alaska statutes, not to mention U.S. crime and federal crimes on top of the Alaska statutes, to justify this by attacking me. And they've been attacking me in the courts to try to distract people of what they did to my wife this whole time. And nobody's wanting to do anything. They're like, well, let it come out in court. I said, well, what are they going to do for my wife? And then we sent a criminal complaint up to the courts because, even the police department here says they're going to stay out of it. So when we submitted the criminal complaint to the courts, well, the judge that attacked me for my disabilities in a hearing that I've been going through is the one who's denied the complaint when he's even seen the proof of the neglect and the cause of these violations of these statutes. The same judge who denied to help my wife when we submitted our own complaint, when no organization is going to do their job in this state to protect us from these, felony acts, well, then we are entitled to take it to the court. But when a judge who attacked me in a hearing I'm dealing with, who's not on the hearing, that's called a conflict of interest. That's called apathetic attitude and personal animus. And this judge is also a member of the Judicial Conduct Board. He should know better. He should know better. I mean, do I have to sit here every day and watch my wife cry and want to destroy herself because nobody's standing up for her, nobody's protecting her and my wife has a clean record. She has not done anything ever in her life to commit a crime. She has a squeaky clean record. Why would somebody do this to a person like that? Why would they allow it to still be ongoing? I don't get this, ma'am, but I have evidence of it. All I've been doing is documenting it this whole time, showing that state offices, the Ombudsman, the governor, the senators, House of Representative members, human rights organizations, and all this don't care. They don't care.
Okay. Mr. Mapes, I've looked through the complaints that you filed, summaries of the complaints that you filed with us.
Yes.
And as we've been talking, I checked a couple things myself on search on the clinic. And the first complaint we got from you was in May, and at that point you complained that
I was being denied health care.
Well, yeah, and that she filed documents containing false evidence against you.
She lied. She said I know where she lives. She said I was said I was her neighbor. I don't know where she lives. I'm not her neighbor. And then she also used pieces of my private medical records as evidence against me, which is a HIPAA violation under U.S. law. So, and then look, this is just what they've done to me. And I'm a disabled man. Look what they're doing to my wife.
Yeah.
I mean, when does it end?
Right.
I'm on chemo. I don't need this. This is like appalling. I mean, I might have my mental disabilities, yes, but at least I know how to try to get help for them and work with them. But when people are attacking me, pushing me in a corner, and I don't have my meds, well, I'm sorry how I may act, because that's called an exacerbation. And if somebody takes that personal or attacks me for it or slanders me for it, that's called discrimination on my disabilities, which is a federal crime, and it is prohibited. It is prohibited. But yet this is the justification of means this clinic over here is saying I can't be treated there either, after I was agreed to be seen by the other provider and the behavioral health counselor. And that's the meeting that I had that is on YouTube too. It's like a 20-minute meeting. The meeting went well, but you hear this Mrs. Heath's boss saying that he's not going to do nothing about his employees' acts for 6 months of medical neglect. What they did to my wife, he's not going to address that, which is also a violation of their own company policies. So I don't understand this. I really don't understand this. I just know that people in this state condone murdering children now. They're all for it. You go get another mentally disabled person that doesn't have the intelligence I have, and they'd be like, "Oh, it's okay to do this. Well, I'm going to go out and do this to other people." But at least I have intelligence. That's the only thing that keeps me at bay. That's the only thing that keeps me at bay is my intelligence. Okay.
First of all, I need to say I'm so terribly sorry that your wife lost the baby. My mother lost a brother of mine, and it was 6 months along. So
and then you're finding
miscarriages can happen.
Well, I'm finding out that Bartlett Hospital has been practicing non-licensed OB for quite so many years, and that explains why they do cesarean births. Cesarean procedures, because they're not licensed, and they get more money for cutting someone open than they would doing the DNC like they should.
Okay.
And this is going on to other people in Alaska. I can only imagine. I'm hearing that SEARHC has been doing this to even Native people in this state. That there's a lot of people upset about this health consortium. I'm not the only one. But when I'm hearing this has been going on to other people too in Alaska and other families, I'm just at a loss in how what this state is really condoning and allowing.
Okay, I need to talk to you about what we can and cannot do in this office. Okay. You filed 7 complaints with us about related matters.
Yeah.
And the first one was about, the nurse practitioner.
Yeah, and it's the same one that did this.
Okay.
It's the same one. Same
I
one.
understand. And the notes, the closing notes indicate that we attempted to explain the Ombudsman's jurisdiction.
Well, ma'am, I've spoken to Washington, D.C., and they've explained your jurisdiction and what you can and can't do.
Washington, D.C. doesn't know what I can do. Really.
The federal government and the rules of the Ombudsman and the oath the Ombudsman took to be an Ombudsman says if he has a proof of crimes, state Alaska crimes, U.S. crimes, or anything under his oath, he has to do something. If not, that's called aiding and abetting, and that's called an act of sedition under his oath.
Who did you talk to in D.C.?
Let me see. Office of the Inspector General, the FBI. Shall I continue? There's a lot of people that I've reached out to in D.C.
Okay.
And they're wondering what's going on in this state now.
Okay. Well, if they wonder, they can contact me.
So what? So your office is condoning the violation of Alaska statutes now?
My office is
and federal
never
crimes.
Please don't interrupt. I am trying to talk to you.
Yes.
Okay. My office does not condone violation of statutes. We really don't.
Well, then what's going on then? Y'all are letting somebody that's murdered a unborn baby?
Mr. Mate.
Per the statutes of the state?
Mr. Mate. Can I talk? Okay. My office, and I am the Ombudsman. Yes. So I know what we can do.
Yes.
My office has jurisdiction set by Alaska statute. The feds don't establish my jurisdiction. They've got nothing to do with me.
Yes.
My office is established by Alaska statute Title 2455.
Yes.
And that title outlines what my jurisdiction is.
Okay.
My jurisdiction is only over, with some restrictions, the actions of state of Alaska agencies and state employees. SEARHC is not a state agency. It's not an entity of the state.
But
it's a private. Please.
Wait, ma'am.
Please let me finish.
Go ahead.
It is a private, non-profit entity. It gets money from the feds to provide health care.
For people like
I
myself.
don't have any jurisdiction over a federal entity.
Well, let me ask you something then. This nurse practitioner though is licensed by the state.
She may be licensed, but she is not a state employee.
Well, being licensed by the state means that she shouldn't be able to practice after what she's been doing.
You can file a complaint against her with the Board of Nursing.
We have already done that back in May, actually.
And where are they with the complaint? Because I'd be surprised if
they're dragging their feet. Is where they're at. They're dragging their feet. I don't know what to do, ma'am. I'm being pushed in the corner here, and I'm mentally disabled on chemo, and it's not good to push me in a corner. I'm not saying you, ma'am. I'm saying other people. It's not good. I might not have a great past. I might have a bad background. But one thing is, for the last 5 years, I've been trying to change my life around and better myself, but yet I'm still being attacked and ridiculed for things that are way past 5 years ago. I'm trying to be a different person. I've been clean. I don't drink alcohol no more because that was my biggest downfall.
That's great.
I've been clean and sober from alcohol for almost 4 years, and I've been wanting to pick up a bottle ever since this has been going on.
And I know it's hard.
You know, I'm a recovering alcoholic. You know, I'm a recovering alcoholic, and then my baby dies, but nobody's going to do nothing because I have proof of medical incompetence and negligence by a search employee. I also have proof that search is violating their own policies in the process. I also have proof that search is now attacking me, a disabled man, in the courts while they're aware I have an open U.S. docket against them, which is called a violation of 42 U.S. Code 12203 to threaten, coerce, or intimidate someone who is going to testify against them in a U.S. case. And I don't understand this.
All I can tell you, Mr. Mapes, is that of all the complaints that you filed with us, the only one that we could act on, we did act on, and that was the complaint that you filed. Hold on 1 second. You filed in May. I'm sorry, April 28th.
Yes.
And that was that they would not transport your wife for emergency surgery.
Yeah, and that was after. That was I remember that. I remember that because
okay. Can I talk?
Yeah, go ahead.
What we did at that point was we contacted Denali Kid Care and Division staff, and they arranged transportation for your wife to medical treatment.
Well, see, that right there, because y'all had to step in, that's when my wife was carrying around a dead baby for almost a month, and this provider wouldn't do anything to get her there, knowing this. So I had to, and I'm very grateful that your office helped me, you know, but this is still pertaining to then, which I had to help her get travel on when the provider wouldn't even do it, knowing she had the baby in her, which is a violation of the statutes I gave you. So is there someone you may know in the state that could, because maybe you might have a little more leverage than me, because people are not taking me literal? I'm serious. They're attacking me. They're expressing apathetic attitude and personal animus for my disabilities while exacerbated. They're using my moods from my chemo, which it says in my medical records will be fluctuated, but they're using that to justify them not helping me. I mean, I had a tumor in my head when I was 1.5 years old, ma'am, and part of my head, and I had reconstructive surgery done. That's my onset of where my disabilities began. But yet to survive that as a baby and to live with that all my life and to get well educated, you know, I was a 4.0 GPA student when I did go to college. I had Phi Theta Kappa wanting me to be a member, which is the National Dean's National Honor Society. And that was going to be my frat, but because people used my disabilities against me even in college, I was denied my federal grant to finish. The federal grant I was approved of was denied by the college's financial aid office. You know, but people don't take me literal about this. I don't lie about it. I think my last GPA was a 3.2 because I had to withdraw from college because I couldn't get the funding that I was assured I would have, that I was approved and granted. And you know, or I would have finished my education. I still want to finish it, but it's kind of hard when I'm being attacked, when I can't get my medication for my disabilities or even my health care. You know, it's very hard for me to deal with people without my medication. And people don't understand that. That's why all my life I've learned and became intelligent, became smart, became understanding of things, because I fight for people just like me. You don't see people treating autistic children this bad sometimes. You don't see people treating Down syndrome children this bad, but they have mental offsets. But what's the difference? I look normal and they might not, but they get a better leniency than me. I really don't understand that.
Right. Well, I'm trying to tell you what I can't do, and I can't. I don't have any authority to look at the actions of this provider.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't have. I specifically do not have any authority.
Well, y'all have acted.
Can I?
Yes, I'm sorry.
I specifically do not have any authority to try and bring federal or to bring criminal charges or conduct a criminal investigation against individuals.
Yes.
When we have people who file complaints in the hopes of getting criminal action, we refer them to the Alaska State Troopers.
Well, they're not doing anything either.
Well, I mean, there's not much I can do there.
I have the chief of police on a video threatening my life. The chief of police of Hoonah threatening to kill me. Now you're going to tell me that's not credible? They're saying they're going to stay out of this, quit making trouble for people. How am I making trouble for people when I'm trying to have justice done for my wife?
Mm-hmm.
You can't threaten somebody for trying to do that. I mean, and my wife every day sits in bed, cries, doesn't want to do nothing because of how people are showing they don't care.
Mm-hmm. Can your wife will not travel by air?
She's afraid of flying, ma'am.
Okay.
She has high anxiety. She has panic attacks. You know, she's from Indiana. She's not used to taking planes everywhere. I mean, I'm wondering, is there a way I could get what you said y'all did act on, a copy of that? Because that may help what I'm trying to do for my wife.
A copy of what?
The complaint I made around the 28th to get her to Sitka to get that procedure done, the DNC procedure.
I believe you made that complaint on the phone.
Yes, but is there a way I can get a copy of the actions from it?
A copy? Well, it was all the action was on the phone.
Yes. I remember I called, spoke to a man, told him what I was dealing with. He said, "Let me see what I can do." And I said, "Thank you." And next thing I know, we were getting her somewhere.
Right.
So I just need something showing that effect, or just something that, you know, because I don't want to go tell somebody something without the proof. I don't speak unless I have proof. You know, I won't speak on something unless I can prove it.
Right. Well, we don't have anything in writing from you, and all I have here is the opening allegation and the closing summary. And the closing summary says, after talking to Denali Kid Care and Division staff, DPA arranged transportation for wife to medical treatment.
Well, is there a way I can get something like just that?
I can give that to you.
Okay,
I can send that to you.
Great.
And you are at box 254 Hoonah?
Yes, or I have
99829.
Or I have a fax if that helps.
Hold on. What is your fax number?
It is it's a toll free. It's 1-866-214-5518. It's I use a site called fax.com. It's like an online fax server. It's about $9.99 a month. What it does is, like, if you have like information in your computer you need to fax it to somebody, you don't have to print it out and then fax it over. You just go in and attach it to the online fax, and then it just sends it directly. And then if somebody faxes you something, you can set it up where it goes to your emails, where if you're on the go, you can just pull it up right there on your phone. It's a real good service.
And it's 1-866-214-5518.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I will attempt to use that and send it to you.
Okay, and if that doesn't work, you can mail it to me also if you prefer.
All right. As long as we're talking, I see that you filed a complaint on the 20th with Michael Jones, and the complaint was local police department, the Alaska courts and state representatives violated the complainant's 14th Amendment rights.
Yes, to equal protection under the law, and they still are. Yes, they are.
Okay. Again, we don't have jurisdiction over the police.
Yes.
And we don't have authority to intervene in matters that have been determined in the courts.
Yes.
And we don't have jurisdiction over elected officials such as Representative Mignot.
Mm-hmm.
So there's nothing we can do for you in that complaint.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you know who could?
Well, the police, you have...
They're not doing
contact.
They're not doing anything, ma'am.
I would recommend you talk to if there is a city council in Hoonah, or an assembly, or whoever runs.
Everybody in Hoonah is basically related.
Okay.
You know, I mean, that's just how it is. I'm just trying to figure out why they're not, like, some of the people here are showing me a lot of respect for what I'm doing, you know, and then I'm hearing other people all over Southeast Alaska are showing me respect because I'm taking it to search. I mean, I haven't seen anybody else do this, but I know everybody must feel like I do, if not worse, about how they're by their own experiences. And I've been hearing about it. I've been seeing it, reading people talking about it, and I'm like, wow. You know, that just makes me feel better in my cause because I'm not just doing it about me and my wife. You know, I see it. I look at it as what's being done to other families, other children, because this is just wrong.
Okay.
You know, it's just wrong what's being allowed to be done by this corrupt health consortium in Southeast Alaska. I hate to use the word corrupt, but I've seen nothing but.
Okay. In terms of what's going on with your wife, is the clinic treating your wife?
She's afraid to go there because Esther Heath works there, ma'am.
Okay.
Look what Mrs. Heath has already done to her.
I saw that there was one other person on staff. Do they have mental health folks on staff?
Mrs. Heath is the head of the primary. She's the head of the clinic. My wife is afraid to go there while she is employed there, ma'am. She's in fear of her life.
Okay.
You know, she is in fear of her life, so I'm trying other avenues to get her somewhere else. And it's been a very hard thing to do because people just don't seem to care.
Okay. Have you, given the situation, have you thought about relocating?
I'm disabled. I don't have the money to relocate, ma'am. Or I would love to. And you know, we live here because her dad lives here. You know, and her half sister lives here. We have other family that lives here. So where are we supposed to relocate? Does somebody want to give us money to relocate? I need about $20,000 to relocate. You know, I live month paycheck to paycheck monthly, and after all my expenses, I ain't broke. So how can I even, you know, relocate? You know, and I've already let people know in the government that, you know, because of that and how Alaska does people, if they don't want you here, they'll either kill you or run you out. Well, I've already made that apparent that that's what people are trying to do.
Okay. Well, it was a question.
I mean, I would if I could, but we fell in love with this place. We love it here. We have family here. This other person, Mrs. Heath, has nobody here but herself. We live here with family. She's living here by herself. She has no family here. She might have adopted people, but she doesn't have blood relatives like we do. So, you know, I know how Alaska works. Is blood or you're not allowed. That's why we were allowed here, because of blood relations and blood relatives. That's why we're in Hoonah.
Okay.
You know, but this other
it was,
party,
like I said, it was just a question.
Yes. I mean, I don't see how I'm supposed to, ma'am. When I'm having to sit here and be trying to figure out how I'm supposed to protect myself from attorneys attacking me, and I can't even afford one. Alaska Legal Services assured me they'd help me, and then they said, well, we're only going to do part of it, not all of it, which is a violation of Alaska bar rules. The Disability Law Center of Alaska attacked me for my exacerbation of my disabilities and justifies that as their means not to help me either. You know, what I have here if things could get done, I would have a settlement. Yeah, we would love to move somewhere else where we could, to a bigger city or something. But when we're being attacked and not given a fair deal here, I don't see that happening.
Okay. Well, okay. I will send you the opening and closing notes.
Yes.
On this case.
Yes.
And like I said, in this other case that is open, I'm going to close that because we don't have any legal authority over the court or the local
I've
police.
even had somebody else besides you ask me, why don't we move? Why are you in Hoonah? And when I tell them we have family here, they're like, oh, well, that's different. I'm like, yeah, you're asking us to move away from family. We're being asked to move away from family. We're up here because my wife didn't know her dad, ma'am. I reunited my wife with her father as a wedding present. I tracked him down, and they were both ecstatic about it, and they still are. They're making headway because I don't think it's fair for a child to hear one side of a parent's story and not know the other. And because I don't know my dad, and that's just what I did for my wife, and now she has a good relationship with her dad. She's getting to know him, which is what she's wanted to do since she was a child. That's how we wound up in Alaska.
Sure.
Because of that. And now I'm being treated horribly for something when I'm doing a just thing for a person.
Okay. Okay, I need to go.
Yes.
I will send you this via fax as soon as I can.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
What?